not common sense, right?
Our final story on this, as to someone who thought she needed the emergency services, a woman called us. She said she was in a state of fatigue, but when the liaison officer responded, she went on to say she felt a lot better and no longer needs the ambulance service since hearing his voice. The thing is, like, she was probably anxious, but like, you don't need the emergency service for these cases. Another caller repeatedly called, claiming she was fatigued, but when the paramedics showed up to her house, she had her phone on Do Not Disturb mode.
Wow. So they weren't able to get inside the house?
Yeah, well, that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
So, look, you could be, these emergency services work in critical conditions. And you need to be very, very aware of what is an emergency, what is not. Someone's life could be at stake as to the phone call that you make, so just be aware of that when you're thinking of calling them. But do call if you need them.
Exactly. Bottom line, do call if you need them. Of course, and when we, since we're talking about putting other people's life in danger, and other thing that does that is, of course, when you use your phones whilst driving. And a new study shows that men are more likely to use their phones whilst driving in comparison to women. This really goes against everything society has been told. Do you not think? I mean,
Elaborate.
We're told that women are, that men are better drivers, that women use their phones more, that women text more, that women...
I do think if we're always looking for an equal society and balance, we probably shouldn't have surveys that pit us against each other.
That's true. Should we just skip this?
And would we have gone with this? I know, I think it's interesting. I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
Okay, so basically...
And your specific thoughts and your specific situation, i.e., are you in a relationship? Do you have a brother, cousin, an uncle, a sister, a grandmother, a daughter who uses their phone more in the car?
Exactly. So what basically happened here is a new study revealed by researchers at Australia's Monash University found that people who suffer from nomophobia, now this is the fear of being without a mobile phone, were 85% more likely to use their devices whilst behind the wheel. And young nomophobes were also more likely to do so than older people. And the interesting part is that men who suffer from nomophobia are more likely to be using their phones whilst driving in comparison to women possessing the same condition. So now we're talking about a condition in specific, which is nomophobia.
I've never heard of this condition before, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Nomophobia, the fear of living without your mobile phone.
At what point can you call something a fear?
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
Because I feel like it's going to be one of those phrases that we're going to use for the next 5 years. Like, oh, I have nomophobia. But like, people might have nomophobia. People might be genuinely frightened. It's like when someone's like, oh, I'm scared of flying. But do you have the fear of flying?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to be without my phone. However, do I have a fear of it? No, take it away.
Exactly. Like, you can be jittery, and like, this is like a serious condition, like those
fear.
Yeah, like a proper phobia of those who are like, I need my phone constantly with me. Of course, there are those people who are in the habit of always having their phone, right? So there's such a stark difference between those who are in a habit, those who are just addicted, and then those who have a phobia, like a medical condition.
So, I'm sure it still doesn't give you a buy, by the way. You get stopped by the police, but I have nomophobia. No, you should not be using your phone. Don't do it. Okay, in your experience, men and women?
In my experience, I don't know about nomophobia, but I do know for a fact that I see more men using their phones whilst driving than women. And I'll tell you why. And I feel like it's something to do with showing off their capabilities to multitask. You know what I mean? Like, I would never, because I cannot multitask I just cannot multitask at all. So I would not use my phone whilst driving unless it's for GPS or something. Like texting, pictures, no. But I know so many of my friends who are such great multitaskers, and they would
Male friends,
yeah, and they would use it to like change the song on Spotify. Okay, you know what? They're not my friends in case the cops are watching. Just people I know, acquaintances.
Seen them from a distance.
See them in a different car. God knows what they're doing with their phones, but they're using it for like.
And your female friends don't?
Not as much in comparison. What about you? What are your observations on this?
As a non-driver who's very nervous about hitting the road soon, hopefully, I could not fathom trying to use my phone and trying to figure out the roads of Dubai at the same time. Impossible. However, as you, I guess,
Yeah.
10 years in,
Yeah.
when you're very used to it, I really hope that I'm not, because the problem with phones is that they're distracting. Like I'll pick up my phone with one aim to do one thing on Instagram. 20 minutes later, I'm scrolling TikTok. And it's just like, it just like encapsulates your mind.
It just pulls you right in.
But my only, I guess my partner James doesn't use his phone that much at all when he's driving, and he always complains. He's always like looking into people's cars, but they're using their phone. And whenever someone's like in front of us, like driving slowly, he's like, they're on their phone. They're on their phone all the time. And he's like, classic, they're on their phone. That's why they can't drive. But he's a very vocal driver. He has lots of complaints but they always are on their phone.
Yeah.
James would never like message and call on the phone he never messaged when he's driving.
I mean,
no.
yeah, he's following the rules as you should. But I mean, from my personal observation, I've just seen men more likely to use their mobile phones.
Just a quick, as we are a platform of ladies sitting here in front of you, let's get a ring around the room. Ali, Shahir, thoughts on phones driving? Do you guys do it, men or women? Who's worse?
Ali
just gave a thumbs up.
He's like, I think we're on the right track. Yeah, men are more likely to use their phones. And Shahir's
Shahir said better safe than sorry. I don't know. I think if we want
Shahir's a new driver, so let's give him like a year.
I don't think these surveys promote the gender balance that we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's just who is addicted more at this point.